Well, I think the broader issue is that the Biden administration's energy strategy is out of touch with working class Americans. This forced transition to electric vehicles, this outlawing effectively of internal combustion engines, and this surrendering of our natural advantage in terms of our energy resources to China and making ourselves more dependent on China for battery production is completely illogical. It's geopolitically naive and malpractice, and I think your average person in Michigan or Wisconsin understands that. And it engenders a range of national security concerns, as we saw in Ford's attempted deal with a Chinese battery company.
We're just a couple of days away from a potential shutdown. How confident are you that this can all be avoided?
I think we have a chance. I think there might be a temporary shutdown. The good news now is people are talking. I was just part of a meeting to sort of forge some sort of agreement within the House caucus. We need in the House to put forward our best alternative in order to have a strong negotiating position with the Senate. The Senate is obviously controlled by Democrats. They're going to have a different construct. But until we do our work here in the House, we're at a disadvantage. So I'm hoping we can work around the clock to get something done before the deadline.
So this summer, a UAP whistleblower came forward and told Congress the U.S. is concealing multi-decade programs that capture UFOs. What are your thoughts on those claims and the others that are coming forward?
Well, I think there was a tendency, including by myself, to dismiss this issue when it first came up a few years ago. But now we have credible voices coming out of the woodwork. The initial whistleblowers were the Navy pilots that talked about the Tic Tac incident in 2004, who were Top Gun pilots. They couldn't be dismissed. Regardless of where you fall in terms of thinking this is enemy technology, observer error, or something extraterrestrial, the fact is the government, the federal government, the executive branch has not been transparent enough. We need to get more out there. We need to have an honest conversation. We need to destigmatize this issue so people don't feel crazy for even talking about it. It's why I passed a piece of legislation that created a super whistleblower process specifically so people like this felt like they had a mechanism they could report to Congress without their career being in jeopardy, their safety being in jeopardy, or their reputation being destroyed in the process.
So I know you recently said that you were cleared to visit Area 51.
Yeah.
Have you gone yet?
I have not gone yet. So as chair of the Select Committee on China, I have a few other trips that I have to get done before that. But I actually do want to go. Obviously, there's much more there than just sort of this issue of aliens or whatnot. But I want to go there. I want to do a whole tour of a variety of technological industrial base areas on the West Coast.
Switching gears, tonight is the second GOP presidential primary debate, and President Trump isn't on the list to attend. Who do you see pulling ahead in the race, and what do you want to see the candidates talk about most? China, the war in Ukraine, etc.
Well, for me, I think China is the most important foreign policy issue. China's our greatest geopolitical threat, and we had one question on China in the last debate, but it really wasn't dealt with at all, particularly given that this debate is at the Reagan Library. I think it's an opportunity for the candidates to talk about rebuilding the American military like Reagan did, and being honest and giving a clear-eyed assessment about the nature of the threat we face in the Chinese Communist Party, which I actually think is a greater threat than that posed by the Soviet Union, which Reagan dealt with very effectively, as well as put forward an optimistic plan for how we win this competition, this new Cold War, and why we deserve to win, because our values are those that promote human freedom and flourishing. As for the candidates that have done the best thus far, I think Governor DeSantis has done really well on the China issue, as well as Nikki Haley.
I want to ask about the state of U.S. military barracks. The
Yeah.
GAO recently issued a report highlighting foul living conditions on military bases, and those pictures are truly something. I know you think these are unacceptable and warrant an investigation, so what are the next steps here?
The most obvious step is to pass a bill that actually funds the military, which we need to do this week. And if we continue on this path, on Friday at midnight, we're going to lose $11 billion of previously appropriated money that's just going to expire if we do nothing. Already appropriated money that has not been spent by the Defense Department that will cancel and go back to the Treasury. We need to take advantage of that money, invest in key things like readiness, like personnel, and long-range precision fires. I think in Congress, we need to shine a light on these unacceptable living conditions that our service members are in, as well as force the Defense Department to be more efficient in terms of the property that it owns. The Defense Department owns a property book in the hundreds of billions of dollars, and a lot of that is things like golf courses that the Pentagon does not need to own. The Navy does not need to own and operate highly valuable property for golf courses. We can recycle those assets and take the savings and invest it in quality training
Mm-hmm.
and living condition for our troops that we're asking to do a very dangerous mission.
What is your response to former Illinois Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger's comments on you? In his opinion, declining to vote to impeach former President Trump after the insurrection, and out of concern for your re-election chances?
Well, if re-election were a concern, I would not have been as vocal as I was surrounding January 6th. I, of course, did not object to the election, even though most members of my party did. And I can assure you it was not a smart political move at the time. So that never played an issue in it. As for impeachment, I evaluated the case for impeachment and concluded that it was very weak. It was a contradictory argument that Nancy Pelosi made at the time. She said we had to move forward on an impeachment in a matter of days because Trump could not be trusted to hold the office, even though he was leaving office in a few weeks. And then she sat on the articles of impeachment and didn't transmit them to the Senate for about a week. So it made absolutely no sense. And then in the intervening year, despite the fact that the January 6th Commission had all the time in the world and massive resources, they did not unearth an actual crime that was committed. And my standard for impeachment, which I've applied across the board, is that if you pursue impeachment in the absence of a crime, you're lowering the bar for impeachment and you're opening up the Pandora's box of impeachment. And that's a dangerous road to go down for our country.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Nope.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.